Good morning. And let me tell you something that may genuinely stop you in your tracks. By the time most people reach 75, they have heard the same message so many times they begin to accept it as fact. Slow down. Expect less. Be careful. Don't push yourself. Decline is normal now. But what if that story is incomplete? What if some of the men and women who stay sharp, steady, independent, and deeply alive between the ages of 75 and 85 are not simply lucky? What if they are still doing a small set of things that most people their age quietly stopped doing years earlier? I'm senior nutrition expert, and after years spent working closely with older adults, I can tell you this with complete honesty. The people who age most remarkably in their late 70s and early 80s are not always the ones with perfect genetics. They are not always the ones spending the most money, and they are definitely not always the ones following every trendy health headline. They are usually the ones who still hold on to a few powerful daily behaviors that keep the body switched on, the brain engaged, and the spirit involved in life. And that matters. Because independence at 75, 80, or 85 is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built quietly, in routines, in habits, in things that look small when you do them, but become enormous when you stop. Research in aging continues to show that behaviors tied to movement, sleep, protein intake, social connection, and cognitive engagement can meaningfully shape how well people function as they grow older. Social loneliness alone has been linked to a 31% higher dementia risk in a large National Institute on Aging-backed analysis, while resistance exercise and cognitively demanding activities continue to show measurable benefits for strength and brain health in older adults. Source. So today, I want to walk you through 6 things that, if you still do them between 75 and 85, make you truly one of a kind. And I want to say something before we go any further, because I know how these videos work and I know some people will be tempted to skip ahead. Please don't, because the number one thing on this list, the most powerful of all 6, is not what most people expect. It is not simply walking. It is not just eating vegetables. It is not even about traditional exercise in the way most people think of exercise. It is something far more powerful because it changes the way the aging brain sees itself. And if you are still doing it now, or if you start doing it again, it may change the trajectory of the years ahead in a very real way. But before we count down from number 6 to number 1, I want to ask you something. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me which of these 6 things you still do. If you're 75, 79, 83, or anywhere close, I want to know. I read those comments, and they tell me more about this community than any statistics ever could. Now, let's begin with number 6. Number 6. You still drink water before your body begs for it. This sounds almost too simple to belong on a list like this, but that is exactly why it matters. One of the biggest changes that happens with age is that the body becomes less reliable at signaling thirst. In plain English, many older adults are running low on fluid before they ever feel the urge to drink. And when that happens, the effects show up everywhere. Attention gets duller, balance gets shakier, energy drops, constipation gets worse, headaches become more frequent, thinking feels slower. Existing research shows that good hydration is associated with better cognitive performance in older adults, and even mild dehydration can impair cognitive abilities. Source. But here is what separates truly exceptional older adults from the rest. They do not wait for thirst. They hydrate on purpose. They wake up and drink water early. They build it into meals. They do not go all day half dry, and then suddenly realize at 6 p.m. that they have barely had anything to drink. That is not a small difference. That is one of the things that keeps the body more stable from the inside out. Because hydration is not just about comfort, it is about circulation. It is about blood volume. It is about helping nutrients move where they need to go and helping waste move out. If you still drink water deliberately instead of accidentally at this age, you are already doing something many people have stopped doing without even noticing. And there is a smart way to make this even more effective. Do not think of hydration as one giant event. Think of it as rhythm. A glass in the morning, one with meals, one in the early afternoon. Gentle consistency works better than neglect followed by overcorrection. Number 5. You still challenge your muscles on purpose. Now I need to be very clear here. I am not talking about becoming a bodybuilder at 81. I am talking about resistance. I am talking about still asking your muscles to do real work. That might mean getting up from a chair without using your hands. It might mean carrying groceries instead of letting your arms go passive. It might mean resistance bands, light weights, wall push-ups, sit-to-stands, step-ups, or holding your own body steady against gravity. Because once people stop challenging muscle, muscle begins to leave. And when muscle leaves, independence usually starts leaving with it. A major meta-analysis found that resistance exercise significantly improves both upper and lower body strength in older adults, with clear gains in measures like leg press, knee extension, chest press, and lat pull strength source. That matters far beyond appearance. Muscle is what keeps you steady when you trip. Muscle is what lets you get out of the car without struggling. Muscle is what helps you open jars, climb steps, carry bags, rise from the toilet, and stay in your own home longer. People often think longevity is about the heart and the brain. It is, but it is also about the legs. If your legs are still strong enough to take you where you want to go, your life stays bigger. That is why truly exceptional older adults do not just move casually, they still create resistance somewhere in their week. Even twice a week can matter. And the hidden multiplier here is protein, which brings me to number 4. Number 4. You still eat enough protein to give your body something to rebuild with. This one is missed constantly. Far too many older adults eat like their body no longer needs raw materials. A little toast in the morning, soup for lunch, something soft and small for dinner, maybe tea and crackers later. And then they wonder why they feel weaker every year. But the aging body does not stop needing repair material. If anything, it becomes harder for the body to hold on to muscle and function without enough of it. Research reviews suggest that older adults often benefit from protein intake in the range of about 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram per day, particularly when paired with resistance exercise, to support lean mass maintenance or improvement source. Think about that for a second. Your body is still repairing tissue, still maintaining muscle, still trying to heal, stabilize, and renew itself. But it cannot do that well if every day arrives with too little protein to work with. The truly unusual 75 to 85-year-olds are often the ones who still eat with intention. They do not just eat what is easy. They make sure there is something substantial there. Eggs, Greek yogurt, fish, chicken, beans, cottage cheese, lentils, real building material. And just as important, they do not save all of it for one meal. They spread it out. Breakfast matters, lunch matters, dinner matters. Because the body works better with regular signals than with random extremes. So if you still eat in a way that supports repair instead of just filling space in the day, you are ahead of the curve already. Number 3. You still protect your sleep like it matters. Because it does. One of the strangest things about aging is that many people become more tired, but sleep less effectively. They get sleepy earlier, wake up more often, rise too early, and then slowly start living inside a fog they mistake for normal aging. But poor sleep does not just make you groggy. Poor sleep changes the biology of aging. Research highlighted by Alzheimer's. Dove describes how disrupted sleep and lower slow-wave sleep activity in older adults are linked to faster beta-amyloid accumulation in the brain, which matters because those plaques are associated with brain aging and dementia risk source. That means sleep is not passive. Sleep is maintenance. Sleep is housekeeping. Sleep is repair. Sleep is memory processing. Sleep is metabolic cleanup. The people who remain unusually sharp between 75 and 85 often still respect sleep as if it is one of their medicines. They do not treat bedtime as random. They tend to keep a reliable sleep window. They reduce stimulation at night. They understand that a chaotic evening usually creates a chaotic night, and a chaotic night creates a weaker tomorrow. And there is something else. When older adults protect sleep, they are often protecting far more than sleep. They are protecting mood, patience, balance, blood pressure, clarity, decision-making. If you still honor bedtime, still give your brain a chance to fully settle, still avoid turning every night into a second afternoon, you are doing something rare. Very rare. Number 2, you still stay meaningfully connected to other people. This may be the most underestimated form of health protection in later life. Because loneliness does not look dramatic at first. It looks quiet. It looks like canceled plans. It looks like fewer calls. It looks like getting used to your own silence. It looks like I'm fine when you are not really fine, only adapted. But the biology of social disconnection is far from gentle. A large National Institute on Aging-backed analysis found that loneliness was associated with a 31% increased risk for dementia. The same report notes that loneliness matters independently, not just as a side effect of depression or isolation source. That should get everyone's attention, because it tells us that being connected is not a luxury. It is maintenance for the mind. The adults between 75 and 85 who remain vibrant often still do one thing many others stop doing. They keep showing up. They call someone. They ask questions. They laugh. They disagree. They tell stories. They listen. They stay socially alive. And that kind of engagement does something powerful. It keeps the brain active in a way television never can. It keeps identity alive. It reminds a person that they are still part of the world, not just watching it from a distance. And let me add something important here. Meaningful social contact does not have to mean being the life of the party. It can mean one real conversation a day, one lunch with a neighbor each week, one church group, one walking partner, one book club, one regular phone call that actually matters. If you still keep real human contact in your life at this age, you are protecting much more than your mood. You are protecting your mind. And now number one, the one almost nobody talks about enough. The one that may separate ordinary aging from remarkably alive aging, more than people realize. Number one, you still learn things that make you feel slightly uncomfortable. Not just remembering, not just repeating what you already know, not just doing the crossword you have done in the same way for 20 years. I mean genuinely learning. Trying something new, struggling with it, staying with it long enough for your brain to build something fresh. This could be learning a musical instrument, a new language, a new type of painting, a digital skill you once avoided, a new card game with real strategy, a new craft that forces your fingers and attention to cooperate in unfamiliar ways. Why is this number one? Because aging brains love efficiency. They love the familiar. They prefer the road already traveled. And that sounds harmless, but over time, it can become a trap. Because the more the brain only repeats what it already knows, the less it gets pushed to form new pathways. And new pathways matter. Research suggests that older adults who play a musical instrument have a lower risk of dementia, with one meta-analysis reporting a significant association between instrument playing and reduced dementia risk. The proposed reasons include stronger cognitive reserve, improved executive function, brain plasticity, and social engagement. Source. That is exactly why this matters. Truly exceptional older adults are often not just active, they are still growing, still learning, still willing to be bad at something, still willing to feel clumsy, still willing to say, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try. That mindset is extraordinary after 75. Because it keeps the brain from closing in on itself. It keeps identity expanding instead of shrinking. It tells the nervous system, again and again, that life is not over, curiosity is not over, adaptation is not over, and possibility is not over. And if you are still doing that now, you are not just aging. You are resisting the most dangerous form of aging, the kind that makes a person smaller long before life actually does. So let me bring this all together. If you are between 75 and 85, and you still drink water on purpose, still challenge your muscles, still eat enough protein to rebuild, still protect your sleep, still stay connected to people, and still learn things that stretch your brain, then you are truly one of a kind. Not because you are perfect, not because your body never aches, not because life has been easy, but because you are still participating in your own vitality. And that is rare, very rare. So many people assume aging means retreat. But the people who age with the most grace, strength, clarity, and independence usually do something else. They keep leaning in. Maybe a little slower, maybe a little more carefully, but they keep leaning in. And that changes everything. If this video spoke to you, subscribe and stay with this channel. And in the comments, tell me your age and tell me which one of these 6 you still do best. I read those comments, and I promise you, they matter. I'm Senior Nutrition Expert, and I'll see